What's up? What's up? What's up? Happy Friday. Welcome to a new episode of Unspoken Truth. I'm your host, Tanise. We back. We made it to another Friday. Okay. I hope that everybody's week was positive and that you did something with purpose and that you was productive this week. Okay. Tonight's topic is 50-50. Is this the new standard? And I gotta guess, I don't know when they gonna pop in, but we just gonna get right to it. 50-50. Is that the new standard? And what I mean by that is relationships. Is that the new standard? Because I've been hearing a lot about this 50-50 thing. And maybe for me, it's just another way to divide things further between a man and a woman or whatever is relationship you have, and it don't really make a whole lot of sense to me, but I can kind of try to understand the place in which it's coming from for those who believe that this is the proper way to have a healthy relationship. I disagree. Okay, and so the reason that I disagree is because it's not what I've seen. And again, everybody has been raised on different levels. They have experienced some unhealthy relationships and some of them healthy. Um, I can say that I've seen a lot of relationships that I thought would stand the test of time crumble. So I've had a different perspective as I've gotten a little older. Um, the whole 50-50 thing is crazy to me because for me. And I understand that I may be rare and far and few between on how I feel about it. But for me as a woman, I don't believe in 50-50. It don't make sense to me. Here's why. When you got two people, one of them is going to be weak in some areas and one of them going to be stronger in some areas. It's very rare that you find a compatible partnership or relationship with somebody and both of y'all just strong in every area. That's very rare. I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm just saying we talking realistically, okay? Um, for me, how I feel about it. If my partner, first of all, I've taken the time to watch them, be observant, see the different things that make up this person that I'm with, the areas in which they strong in, the areas in which they weak. Because for me, I feel like it's my responsibility as their woman to hone in on those things, meaning to pay attention to those things. Why? Because at some point in the relationship, it may be mandatory that I paid attention, that I see the issues that my partner might have or be struggling with. And that is when they're going to need me to step in those areas and vice versa. And this is why I can't or I don't agree with 50-50 because it don't make no sense to me. If my partner strong in certain areas and I'm weak in them, as my partner, I'm expecting them to take the time, the same time that I took out to get to know them and pay attention to they likes and dislikes, they triggers and whatever else come with them as a person. It's the same thing that I want them to do for me. It's reciprocation, and this is why I cannot agree with the whole 50-50 thing. Now, for those of you that's out there tuned in, that's watching, hey, have your own opinion, and that's okay. Chime in on the conversation, comment. I want to hear how everybody feel because this is why I do these kind of topics because it kind of opens up the door for people who don't look at things like me or view or see things like me to kind of have a chance to have somebody see and hear them for the way they think and see things. And that's okay. I'm not here to change nobody's thoughts or opinions. I'm just here to simply state how I see things. Um, Again, I've heard people say, well, 50-50. If they can't do certain things, then they ought to be making up for it in other areas. Now, that much I can agree with. because I just stated that out of my own mouth. That is how I see things. But there is a lot of women that's tuning in, they may object to this, but it's a lot of women out here that don't offer nothing. And these is the same women that some men is expecting to go 50-50 with them on, when they ain't even did a third in life. And I'm not taking shots at nobody. It's some women out here that's inadequate in the kitchen. See, I wasn't raised like that. My daddy taught me that the key to a man's heart is through his stomach. So if you don't know how to cook, oh, that's a red flag right there. To some men, I'm not saying all men, but to some men, that's a red flag. It's like, hold on, wait a minute, baby. If and the people I think that struggles with this conversation and this subject is the ones who in the connection for the wrong reasons anyway. Because we all should be analyzing why somebody is trying to be with us in the first place, man. A lot of people don't want that kind of connection with somebody else. They incapable of being able to reciprocate what they getting. So then you left feeling without or inadequate within the connection. That's how that type of stuff even occur. That's why those type of things exist in people's connections and relationships. Another thing, communication. How you gonna want me to 50-50 with you on anything and we don't even have proper communication between each other? Because that's the basis for me for a relationship. If you can't come talk to me about how you feeling and what you going through, and I can't come talk to you about what I'm feeling and going through, it ain't no relationship, in my opinion. Because what we doing? What we doing? We sitting here wasting each other time. That's what we doing. And when you get a certain age in life, when you get a certain maturity level in life, those type of connections don't even cut it no more. If I feel like I can't come talk to you about what I'm going through, then you're not a safe space for me. And I will repeat, I'm rare about how I think and see things. I've been told that I view things as though I was once a man, perhaps. And I wasn't offended by it, because some of the things that I see or the things that I do or how I operate and move in life, it may very well emulate a man. It may very well. But I don't think that should hinder me or stop me from making certain decisions that I know don't align with me. I'm not saying that you can't be 50-50 with whoever you with. That's fine. I'm just simply saying, in my world, in my life, in the little bubble that I've created for myself, it will not exist. Because I just won't tolerate it. It's no. I just was raised that a man is supposed to show up in certain ways, and a woman's is supposed to show up in other ways. What do I mean by that? The man goes to work. I'm not saying that a woman can't work. Please hear me. I'm not saying that. I'm not going to never stop no woman from chasing her dreams or going after whatever goals she has set for herself. I'm not saying that. But the things that I've seen and respect to this conversation is the man went out and worked. The wife took care of the kids, the household, and the bills, the food, the unit as a whole. All of those things was taken care of by the woman. I'm not saying men can't do it, because nowadays you have some stay-at-home fathers. So I'm not taking nothing away from that. I'm just simply saying that times have changed. It's not the same way that it once was. And maybe I'm old school in that respect, but I just don't see it that way. It doesn't make sense to me. If I got the 50-50 with you, then that's a roommate. That's not a partner. That's not a mate. in my opinion. I could 50-50 with somebody down the middle for everything that's in my household. That's a roommate to me. That's not going to be considered my man. I'm just saying. And no, I don't expect him to do everything. But there are certain things that's going to be required in order for him to even have a title, let alone be in my world. Like, no. And this is why I use the term standard, because I feel like everybody should have one. You should have a standard about what you gonna accept and not accept. Because I don't like to use the word tolerate, because a lot of people is in connections for that reason right there. They tolerate. They don't care about that person. They ain't trying to build or grow nothing with them. They tolerate them. What does that do to you internally? It breaks you down. It don't do nothing to them, because they not even aware that, or even care that that's what they causing. Because that may be the very reason why they was around in the first place. That's why I said we have to acknowledge the whole reason why people is in our life in the first place before we can start having stipulations and expectations and all this craziness that I be hearing people discuss. But don't nobody want to take the time out to get to know nobody, but they got all these different rules and regulations that they gonna place upon somebody. You out your mind. It don't make sense to me. And clearly, again, I'm a different breed, because when it makes sense, then I get up off of it. That's how I move. But you can't make me accept or tolerate or state something as truth or fact, and nobody has shown me such. Ain't nobody showed me where 50-50 situationship, relationship, or connection has gotten anybody anywhere, man. Show me. You wasn't giving 50-50 of your time. You wasn't laying down with them 50-50. You wasn't feeding them 50-50. Yeah, so this is why I don't understand how this can exist. Because I don't believe in half loving somebody. To me, that's fake. So this is why I'm having a hard time with this 50-50 conversation. Because it don't make sense to me. I ain't never had to half love nobody ever in my life. I see it as you either all in or you ain't with somebody. So this is why I can't understand 50-50. What are you talking about? Make it make sense. Do you like this person? Do you love this person or not? Because I don't understand the 50-50. It doesn't make any sense. Because if I say to you, hey, I only want you to half love me, you're going to look at me like I'm crazy. You're going to be saying to yourself, like, what in the world is she talking about? How do I know that? Because somebody had to have tried it. There is nothing that goes on in this world that ain't nobody tried. Where did they get them? First of all, did the person that they said it to even understand what they were saying to them, let alone follow through? How do you half love somebody? Because these is questions that need answers. Because it's one of them things that make me scratch my head. Like perhaps maybe my ponytail too tight. Because it don't make no sense to me. If I'm with you, I'm with everything that comes with you. I'm not sitting here trying to dissect you like the game of Operation. Because that's what this 50-50 thing sound like to me. And it sound like it's coming from somebody that's been hurt. I don't know a person walking this planet that has not experienced hurt. Do that mean that you are privy or green lighted to go around here reciprocating that hurt energy on somebody? No, it does not. What you should be doing, instead of you trying to figure out how you can 50-50 and roommate with somebody, you need to be healing from some things. You need to be going within, trying to figure out what's going on with you. Because no matter what topics we have and conversations we indulge in, I always keep saying that no matter what go on in life, it's still going to bring you back to you still having to deal with self. We find all the different things in the world to figure out what to do to keep us from avoiding self. And then we try to figure out, well, why is all this stuff happening in my life? I can't get nothing to go the way I wanted to. Because you won't even acknowledge and deal with yourself. Woo! You won't even deal with yourself. So how in the world is you going to deal with anybody else when you haven't dealt with whatever is brewing and growing and breeding inside of you? For you to have a stipulation on somebody talking about what they have to do. And see, this is why I keep saying, like, I'm a different breed. I'm cut from a different cloth, because I ain't busy trying to enforce nothing on nobody. I'm simply trying to see who the person is, collect the data necessary for me to make my final decision, meaning whether I'm going to deal with the person past this point or not. And that's that. I ain't about to say, oh, he got to have and he got to be and no. Because what happens when I don't have any of the things that I'm saying that this person got to have? For example, a house, a car, a good paying job, a fat bank account. What if I don't have those things? Do you think that it's fair for me to have those type of expectations for somebody that I'm trying to be with? Because once again, we keep wanting, and I'm talking about people, we keep wanting to create this fantasy of who it is we supposed to be with. What all things they supposed to possess. Because I've heard people talk about a husband's prayer list before. And I'm not trying to get into religion, but what I'm saying is that prayer list consists of certain things that this woman is praying to God that this man possess, right? But what happens when she don't possess none of those things? Do you honestly feel like the universe is going to allow her to attract the person that she keep asking God for, and she haven't started making herself be that person yet? You crazy if you think that's how this go. No, we're going to attract who we are, not who we want to be. I don't know how many times I'll have to say that to remind people that this is a fact. It's the law. It's called the law of attraction. If, for example, if you're a thief, do you really think that the universe is going to allow you to attract people with nice things that ain't used to somebody stealing and taking from them? Now, have they met some people they could take advantage of? Absolutely. But do you think that they're going to attract that type of person? No, they're going to attract somebody that's just as thieving as them. That's like saying somebody that you cool with is a known criminal and they done burnt bridges with everybody else, but they ain't gonna do it to you. Is you crazy? That's like idiot one-on-one right there. Because at the end of the day, no matter how hard people try to be somebody that they're not, they can't help but be who they really are. That's why people put on masks and they create this facade of who they really want to be and what life they wish they was living. And eventually the mask come off and you start seeing them for who they really is. All you got to do is have some patience. People expose themselves. Well, I hear people talking about some snitching at all time high. No, people expose themselves. Ain't nobody got to go looking too hard. All you got to do is sit back and be patient and let time tell it. It's going to do it every time, man. I've had to teach myself these things. So I'm not telling up nobody nothing that I wouldn't practice myself. You have people in other countries that, for example, I met a young lady just this week from South Africa. In her country, if you marry her or any of the people in her immediate family, there is a certain and I don't want to say ritual, but there's a certain event that takes place where the man has to pay into the family. Boy, people over here in America, Lord have mercy, they wouldn't be able to handle that. If they had to pay the father or the family to get next to the wife, woo. And we over here talking about 50-50. In other parts of the world, you get married off. You got to go through the father to get to the wife. And I'm pretty sure that ain't nobody showing up to nobody's daddy talking about no 50-50. You think a wise man, a man that with leadership possess the ability to provide and protect his family is going to allow another male to come to him and ask, can he go 50-50 with his daughter? Show me. Because I'm gonna continue to say that these type of things, these stereotypes and these small little things that we create is only here to divide some more. And as long as we continue to keep dividing some more, we aiding and abetting in the agenda. They don't want us to get along. They don't want us to be together. Why? Because when those things happen, then we procreate. We create beautiful Black families, and they don't like that. They don't want that. We don't need 50-50 fathers. We don't need 50-50 mothers. We don't need 50-50 wives. We don't need 50-50 husbands. We don't. We don't. That continues to aid in the bed and the whole broken home issues and crisis that we get. Oh, I'm only going to show up half the time. Because that's what 50-50 translates to me. I really needed you to show up 100%, but you only gonna show up half of the time. 50%. Well, if that's what somebody got to deal with, this is why a lot of people is single out here. Because I'm not dealing with that. No way. It's not happening. And no disrespect to nobody. But here's what I believe caused this whole little thing to even exist. Is because most people they looking for help. They not really looking for a genuine connection with somebody. They not looking for the feeling of unconditional love. And I've had this conversation with several people this week. This is why I probably even chose to even have it as a topic tonight. A lot of people is hurt, man. So we create these little things like this where we can somehow manipulate ourselves into thinking that the things that we've created in our minds, such as the 50-50 ratio, is the right way to do things versus us doing the right thing that we know is right, if that makes any sense. Because all of us can pretty much decipher what's right and wrong as an adult. You gonna want me to show up all the way, right? You gonna want me to be there 100%, right? I'm just simply saying reciprocate that. There is no reason for 50-50. I had a bad day. Maybe I'm going through something. Mentally, emotionally, or physically, it doesn't matter. I mean, I'm looking for you to ask me how my day was. Find little things to make my day go better. Even if it's you sitting down watching a stupid show that I like and you don't care nothing about it. So what? It's the little things. I'm not going to 50-50 rub your back. I'm not going to 50-50 show up for you. Why? Because I don't expect that's the way you're going to show up for me. I believe in you setting the example first to the person that you with. And then having them reciprocate that. It's nothing wrong with that. Although you gonna find a bunch of hurt people that's gonna tell you, that ain't the way things go, and who cares about love and what's the benefits? I've even heard that this week. But I'm just a believer that love trumps all. It's people walking around here that really going through something, and all they need is a hug. What does a hug translate to? Affection. What does affection stem from? Love. And it'll change the whole trajectory of their day. Just because somebody acknowledged them. Maybe they took the time to hear them out. They sat down and talked to them. Because my belief about this life is everybody wants to be seen, heard, and they want somebody to show up for them. To me, those three things are all acts of kindness. And you ain't even got to be with the person for you to do them. If more people was actually applying that to real life and actually doing that, paying it forward without a monetary attachment, without some conditions, imagine what this world would be like, man. It would be much more people happier. And this is why I stand on love trumps all. Because no matter what you're going through in life, somebody just show you just a tiny bit of affection. Man, it's the feeling it gives in your chest. It's the feeling that your spirit have behind it that I don't feel like can be put into words really. But we got to stop this. We got to stop furthering the agenda of dividing us down the middle. Cause they still doing it. They still doing it. I may not like the way you do certain things, but can we just stop nitpicking with each other about the smallest, stupidest things? When there's people out here dealing with real life stuff, like real life and death, it goes back to an episode I did earlier this year about everybody just want to be loved, man. Agree or disagree, but I'm telling you, man, if we was giving out more of that energy than they ain't none of my business, I ain't got to worry about them, they don't need nothing from me, it's all about me type of energy. If we stop giving that out to the world, imagine, man, it wouldn't even be no reason to have these type of conversations right here about 50-50. Because once again, I will say it again, there is no such thing as you have loving somebody or something. It's no way. That's called straddling the fence. I don't believe it's possible for you to do that when it comes to love. I think that a lot of people have misconstrued what love is, what it consists of. They even confused it with lust. It's not the same. Somebody who only wanted you for your body could never love you. Argue with somebody else about it. Because I feel like until certain people in this world have been loved to a certain magnitude, that they gonna always feel like it's not for them. That's rooted in something. Maybe you lacked affection as a child. Maybe the people who was caring for you wasn't affectionate and loving. I could say the same. I don't recall getting a whole lot of hugs and kisses and those type of things growing up. I'm not saying it didn't happen. But I would love to hear from some people who actually agree with the 50-50 ratio and actually applying it to their relationship or their life. Because I never want the conversation to just be about what I think and how I feel and my opinions. No, because there's people out here that actually live by this. I want you to be able to share what you living by this or having this belief has done for your life. Because what I hear from a lot of men is, I did everything for her. I did everything for her. And then she turned around and did. And this is why I said in the beginning of the conversation, you have to know who it is that you trying to have a partnership with. That's a difference between a relationship. A lot of people think it's the same. It's not the same. Because with a partnership, you actually are willing to build something with this person. It's not about y'all just going on dates and saying, changing your profile on social media. I'm with such and such. It's way more to it, just like a marriage. It's way more to it than y'all standing before everybody and God and saying, I do. Oh, you got to put some work in behind that. It ain't going to work itself. It ain't going to build itself. Some people, I believe, is in relationships just because they fear being alone. Let's talk about it. You know, I've had a history of always being with somebody. This may be the longest I've probably been outside of a relationship. This season I'm in currently. And it's not because I can't or it's not available or I don't have access. It's because I'm being real choosy about the next connection I have with somebody that's long term, because people is getting together for all the wrong reasons. I really needed some help. I ain't never love you. Imagine what that do to somebody who really care about you. They was in their mind like, we together. We about to have this life together. We gonna do this and do that. Imagine what that did to them. When you could have simply kept it G from the beginning, like, look, this ain't, I don't want this. I think a lot of people then got in relationships, situationships for just like that. They feel forced. I done been told that before. You forced me. And if I was younger, I probably would have went against that. I would have been offended about it. But I can see in many ways where that could be true. And who am I to tell him that it's not? That's his experience with me, not my experience with myself. And within my marriage, I want to know 50-50. No, what? Huh? But see, the difference is when you got two go-getters that's after one common goal, which is to create a comfortable life for the household. This is why 50-50 couldn't exist in them type of relationships and partnerships. It couldn't exist. Why? Because both parties is bringing just as much to the table as the other. And this is maybe something that I need to talk about on a future episode. A lot of men is bothered when they woman make more than them. It do something to their ego, man. Oh, I'm supposed to be the breadwinner. It don't have nothing to do with who they with. It's the ego that's no longer getting stroked. You no longer gassing them up in their mind. We not equal no more. Maybe that's how we got to this whole 50-50 thing. Because people started thinking of their significant other, spouse, or whoever they woman or man that they dating. They started thinking they was in competition with them. Maybe that's the issue. Because I've seen that too in relationships and partnerships, where one of them started feeling like, you one upping me. We ain't on the same level no more. Why? What changed? That ego. It's no longer getting fed. That's what changed. I'm not in competition with who I'm with. I'm not. And if that's the type of energy, vibe, or frequency that I get from the connection, then I'm gone. Because it makes no sense. Two heads working together for a common goal is always going to beat one. Always. Yeah, we was born single births and we going to die single deaths. This is true. But why in the world should we have to live this life by ourselves? Because we got a significant percentage of people in the world that feel like that's as good as they can do is the bare minimum. Because that's what I feel like is less than the bare minimum is 50-50, in my opinion. When some is not even trying to do the bare minimum. So then you gonna make it that much more difficult to deal by talking 50-50? Why? So again, I feel like we got to this place where this is a thing is because it's being fueled by a lot of hurt people that have not gotten over whatever traumas they done had in their life. Whether it's them from their childhood, maybe it was their parents. Like I said, some people just did not get the type of affection that they feel like they should have. Or maybe it was a really bad breakup with whoever you was with and you was with them for some years. But there is not a person walking this planet that has not experienced hurt. I almost feel like it's mandatory for you to experience it. How else would you know what not to engage in or who not to connect with or what not to allow in your life if you never got hurt before? It's just a question. But I'm not saying that I wish hurt on nobody, but I feel like it was a reason why it's being allowed to occur. Because sometimes we will allow ourselves to engage in connections, interactions, relationships, partnerships, situationships with people. And we feel like it was no reason behind it. I'm a believer that there is a reason behind every interaction that you have with another person. Whether it was for you to be humble based off of what you seen them enduring or going through or struggling with, or it was for you to learn a lesson so that you can grow and elevate. But I definitely believe that hurt was not allowed or there's no intention behind it as far as you getting what you need to get from it, the experience. I think everybody, you have to, because we'll hold on to stuff until it hurt us. We'll hold on to people till they hurt us. Sometimes it take that for us to disconnect from the person, place, or thing, for us to get hurt first. Some people will use that and turn that into rage and anger. Now they walking around here hurting people. This is why the saying is hurt people hurt people. But I'm advising that you take that experience, get what you need from it, the hurt and the pain and the uncomfortableness too, and use that to not experience those things again, at least not the same way. It can't always be everybody else's fault. At some point, it got to be your fault too. And this is where accountability come in. But I stand on, I don't agree with it. If at a later date somebody wants to further the discussion, that's wonderful. I'm here for the conversation. But right now, as it stands, like, this is ludicrous. I think this is a waste of time for us to even be having this conversation of 50-50 when we already divided about every single thing else. So now we're gonna add whether or not we believe that we need each other. Because that's what I believe, that these type of things create that mindset of, oh, I don't need no man. Oh, I don't need no woman. And it couldn't be further from the truth, because I would prefer the word need as opposed to the word want. Because some of the things that we want is not good for us. Whether that be a partner or whatever. If we knew what was best for us, we wouldn't need no direction or guidance. I hope you caught that. If we knew all the things that we were supposed to be doing, right, wrong, or in between, from day to day, we wouldn't need no intuition. We wouldn't need no discernment. We wouldn't need a whole lot of things. But they are here. They exist for a reason. For us to utilize as we maneuver on this journey that we call life, man. So choose wisely is the best advice I can give you with picking or choosing a partner, man. Choose wisely. Why? Because whatever it is that you choose, you're going to have to deal with whatever comes with that choice. Healthy or unhealthy. So let's focus on making better choices and better decisions with our mates more than we focus on what we gonna split down the middle and who gonna do half of this and the other one gonna do half of that. We got way other things to deal with before we deal with that. Before that could even exist. When we not uplifting each other, when we not upholding our end of the bargain, when we get in relationships, when we creating false hope and narratives with people we know that's not what we want, we further damaging each other and then expecting us to be whole or together when we finally do meet the person that's for us. But I'm gonna leave with this, and this is probably gonna mess a whole bunch of people up. We keep on looking for the person that's for us, and that's us. The person for us is us to ourselves first. Before we could ever be somebody's woman, before we could ever be anybody's man, before we could ever talk about marriage, partnership, business, we have to be who we want in our partner first. We have to be that to ourselves first. That means spending extra time loving on yourself. That means dealing and acknowledging your trauma and getting the necessary help you need. That means healing from your past relationships and how they ended and the trauma that you experienced while you was in it. You don't just owe that to yourself, but you owe that to the person that's for you. Because until that work is done individually, personally, you gonna struggle trying to find anybody who's going to be willing to put up with you at your worst. Because I feel like a lot of people want you to pick the rotten fruit from the tree when you got access to the ripe fruit, to the good fruit. No. Why would I pick that? Because it's closer to me, to my reach. They ain't got no nourishment to it. It's dead. It's dead fruit. What I'm gonna get from it? That type of analogy need to be used in your relationships. All of them. Just because I got access to certain things, people, places, does not mean that that's what's best for me. This conversation has been very enlightening. Although I don't know who chimed in yet, but hey, it's just my perspective. It's just the way I see things. Had I had this thought process and mindset when I was younger, I think that I still would have abused it. I wouldn't have had known what to do with the wisdom that I've obtained at this point in my life. Which choosing, choices, picking, having a better understanding of myself and where I potentially may have went wrong in certain relationships, connections. I love y'all so much, man. I appreciate y'all for keep on tuning in. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Okay, I'm trying to build me a community over there. You're more than welcome to comment on any of the content that's on there. I'm in the process of getting a lot of my older episodes on there. It's taking me some time to figure out how to transfer from Instagram to YouTube. But where there's a will, there is a way. Just continue to have patience with me. I appreciate y'all, man. For a lot of the insight that I've been given, a lot of the comments that's been left under different episodes, some of the wisdom that I've gotten from just conversations with people, all of it has been very helpful and useful in me growing as a person, as me growing as a platform and a brand. It doesn't go unnoticed, okay? So again, I'm also on Tuesdays now for a mini episode from 11 to 12. Sometimes we done a little sooner, but that is for my people who on a lunch break, the ones that really can't sit down and really tune in for a whole hour. But catch me on Tuesday mornings at 11 a.m., both on Instagram and Facebook. And I'm working on the third device so I can also be on YouTube as well live. But just stay tuned. I got some big things in the works. Um, yeah. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I will see y'all on Tuesday, 11 a.m. I'll be here. Y'all be safe. It's Friday. It's been raining all day. Be careful. Um, be safe. Try to stay warm. It's definitely chilly out. And I will see y'all on Tuesday. Peace.